this is a room for the men. This is men's quarter of a room called 사랑채. So the guys get together here, like their relatives and their neighbors and friends are coming here and gathering and bonding their relationships. Like they talk about their personal things and studying or politics. So it's kind of social place. But I need to mention about one thing about this 사랑채. When you see the 사랑채, especially in a wealthy family, this 사랑채 is detached from the main building. But in order to give you, visitors, a better understanding about this hanok, so we attach this together. So yeah, come this way. This is of course, this is woman's part of the room. So the housewives stay here and nurture their families and nurture their families and children, and all the households are happening here. So you might be wondering at this point why they separate the room for the gender. Why this different gender and different room? Because during the Joseon period, the Confucianism was a ruling ideology. So that's why the rooms are genders, different gender and different rooms are separate each other. So this one is the kitchen. Of course, the kitchen is close to the which room? Of course, the women's room. Because the women do a lot of all the household things, including making food and everything. So this is a Korean traditional kitchen, and this is called agumi furnace, and this is it's kind of old version of making rice and making other food. So in winter, I mentioned just before, right? In winter, we do have onder, like the warming stone and heating system. So this is called agumi. So actually, when you see the room and under the room, there's a layer of stone under the room. So which is supposed to be heated, right? So the heat is transferred through the passage from this furnace, and so imagine. So the stone under the room gets warm. Then of course the room gets warm too. So that's why that's the way they keep warm in their place especially in winter. So I just want to quickly mention about this one. This is quite interesting to me. In our ancestor, Korean people believe there are the guardian deity to protect their houses. Like actually there were 9 deities they believed. So this is one of them called 조왕신. This is called 조왕신, which is to control the fire and especially also called the kitchen deity. So what they do, the housewives wake up early in the morning and they go to the nearest well and get the fresh water from the well and they pour here. And after that, they do every day actually. So after they pray for their longevity and prosperous life and happiness for their family. That's how it works about this 조왕신. We call 조왕신, also called in kitchen and deity. And this is stone mortar. You might seen this one before, maybe. The small one. But these days people are still using this one, but not this big one, of course not. The small one. So I saw one of my friends using this little tiny small one, but it's a plastic one, not this stone one. So basically, if you wanna make some flowers like grain flowers, so you put the grains like rice or wheat or barley. You put it, and then you just heat it, and then you make the grain powder. And also, our ancestors use when they make the Korean traditional, the sticky, cake, and they also make this one. Make this one too. And this is a very old-fashioned, like grinder. And today's a grinder. So what they do, you just hold this wooden handle, and then you put, like, for example, bean. If you want to make tofu, you put a bean in here, and then you just you pull this handle, wooden handle, and you just move, backward or forward, and then all the creamy, the smooth, the result will come out here, and then you can make, with that result, you can make your tofu. And this is like I can say this is a storage terrace and also called jar. We call hangari. This is just especially just another reason. We do have a lot of, I still have it, and we do have a lot of this hangari. This is jar because another reason is quite warm. So at that time there's no fridge, right? Then how can you keep your food and fresh? We do have this one, especially for fermented food, because otherwise the food goes very bad easily, right? But when you have a jar, you put some, like for example, Korean, fundamental seasoning, like gochujang, like red bean paste or soybean paste or soy sauce you put here. So all the fermented food, of course, including kimchi as well, and also other stuff like water or rice you put in this jar, you can keep longer and fresh. So that's why this is fundamental uses, and our ancestors make it, and environmentally friendly and also reasonable because it made out from the soil. So spring farming starts with plowing. This is a very old version of plowing tools used by turn up the soil and make it soft so that you can spread the seed quite easily, right? So it was actually used until 1970, and it has been used for centuries. But farmers have to carry all these things. A small amount of the small amount of the field is okay, but if imagine if you have the large amount of field, it's not for you to use this kind of tools, right? It's hard for them to use it. So what they did, they developed this advanced version of plowing tools. So now you don't need to carry these tools because cow will do. I mean, not cow, ox will do, because ox is powerful than cow, right? So ox will do these kind of things for you. So at that time, the cows were very important animal for the farmers. So they treated the cows as part of their family. So now it's springtime. The large amount of sunlight and the water will keep and grow the grains so fast, but at the same time weeds are growing too. So that is quite the problem for the farmers. But don't worry, we don't have this brilliant item, the invention our ancestor developed. This is called homing. But it looks very simple and small, but right? But it does a lot of things like planting, seeding, and harvesting, and plowing, putting out the weed. A lot of things to do. And one day I searched about this one and more about this homing, and I happened to find something online. And it says, the one of the large American online websites in Amazon sell this one. So nowadays, this homing is popular around the world. And I want to quick mention about this jjigae as well. This is a brilliant. I have to mention about this one too, because this is a brilliant item our ancestor developed. It looks very simple, just wood and straight, right? But this one does a lot of things as well. Because imagine at that time the road is very narrow, so cows can't carry all the heavy loads, right? So our ancestor developed this one, so the people can just simply wear this one, and then you carry all the heavy things onto this part. So you don't need to worry about heavy stuff and a lot of loads, like big, heavy things. So this is called A-shaped carrier. Because why? You might be wondering why A-shaped carrier in English. Because I'll just tell you just quickly a mention about that original the English name. In 1950, the Korean War was happening, right? At that time, UN soldiers came in Korea, right? At that time, they were marched on the road and they saw the farmers carry this one. But in a distance, it looks like letter A. So since then, they called it A-shaped carrier. So now it's autumn. You have to harvest. It's a harvesting time for the farmers, right? So these are the winnowing baskets. Winnowing baskets to you have to get rid of the shaft out of the rice, right? So all the dirt and dirty things from the rice, right? So these are the winnowing tools to use all the chaff from out of the rice. And this is slicing tools. So you put the rice, right, and then you grind you use this handle, and then all the shafts coming out from the here. You see this small little tiny gap, right? And then the fine rice you will get, and then you put in this container. So in winter, just for a while, farmers can relax for a while. Let's check this out. I really want to show you around here. These are the traditional Korean musical percussion instruments for nonga. And what is nonga? Nonga literally farmers' music. So the farmers use these kind of tools in order to basically nonga is used in order to pray for and celebrate in the harvest, because since the agriculture was an economic background of Korean society, so Korean people lived deeply intertwined this nonga. But unfortunately, after the industrialization and modernization, we gradually reduced this performance of nonga. But the importance of the value, this nonga was designated as World Intangible Culture of Humanity by UNESCO in 2014. Let's move on to here. Let's quickly mention about these tools. These are tools for the fishing, of course, and not in the sea, in the river. And this is the house of Namdo. Basically Korean, the houses, traditional Korean houses are different depending on the regions, right? Especially this Namdo region is, you might already have an idea about the Namdo region, because it's hot and humid in the summer and very cold and dry in the winter. So we have to prepare for the hot summer and cold winter. But don't worry, we do have a Ondor, Korean, the scientific heating system in Ondor. And in summer, we do have this daechang, wooden floor, which is a cool place, especially in the winter, because all the winds come from the outside and come here and circulate here, and then through all the cool air into these rooms. So people can, just stay in a cool, especially in a hot summer. And I also want to mention about these long eaves. Especially when you see the Namdo Hanok, you see these long eaves. Because why? Because a lot of sunshine in the summer, right? So these long eaves prevent the large amount of sunlight not to come directly through the house. So make it cool the house in a